it's going to be a beautiful red bouquet of flowers in a vase. And before we start, don't forget to click that notification button and subscribe to my channel. And every week we're posting a new video and another step-by-step tutorial on how to. All right, let's begin. So we have filbert, angled, straight, flat, and round. This is 17 by 21 centimeters or 6.5 by 8.5 inches. This is the paints. So we have 2 yellows, we have 2 greens, we have 2 greens, 2 blues, 2 reds, black and white, and that's it. All right, let's start. So I'm gonna do a quick sketch. I'm gonna figure out where in my canvas that vase is, and is it centered, is it not centered. So I know that the vase is not centered. So if I break my canvas on 2 pieces, just to have easy way to figure out where everything is located, I know that the vase is under the half and a little bit over the bottom, and it's off-centered, so the vase will be right here, and we have a circle for the vase and a rectangle for the top, and then we have another oval for the bottom. So if I connect those pieces, then we are going to get a pretty good shape for our vase. So we went in and we followed the curve of the oval, we follow the curve of the circle, and then gentle curve in, and the top we can't really see because we have clusters of flowers. The table goes diagonal and it's kind of on the top part of this, it goes behind. This is almost on just about the other side of the center, and obviously I have to figure out the angle because the angle needs to come here. So I'm going to just pretend this is it, and everything is going to be covered with paint, so we are good if we do extra lines. And then instead of going this way, it's going slightly down, and almost those 2 parts are on the same level. All right, so this is reds, and it looks like it's a table covered with a cloth. We're gonna play around with clusters or parts of the bouquet. So we have one here, we have one lonely flower, then we can just do the bigger cluster that it's happening here. We have 2 or 3 flowers, or 4, it looks like a few flowers here. This branch is gonna go down. This obviously it's coming out of here and it's sideways. We have on this side 2 circles, and then we have another cluster, and we have a bigger cluster that is in the shape of kind of elongated, and then we have a few that are actually coming outside our canvas. So obviously we're stopping here, but some of them are not a full flower, they're outside the canvas. So we're going to kind of put a few circles here and there. I know what cluster I'm working on. There's a few here, there's 1, 2 here, there is 1, 2, 3, and they're very vague, so we're not supposed to be worrying, are they exactly like flowers? There is one that it's absolutely facing us, one that it's behind, 2, 3, there's another one that it's let's put this on something so it's not moving. and olive green and yellow. Oops, this is wrong. This is brown. Olive green and yellow pretty much is going to give me that perfect base for this side. Obviously the painting is done inside, so it's shadowy, and if you see how I am doing a wash in a way, so I can just go over. Bring this image a little bit. There is some blues, also this color with maybe a little bit of brown is present right here. Okay. And this is one of the clusters. And honestly, when I'm looking at his painting, it looked like he went back and forth between foreground and background. It didn't seem like he followed first do the background and then work on the foreground. He was just doing his own thing. And let's not forget that we are trying to do brush strokes, little brush strokes. Right here too. And obviously I'm not trying to follow 100%. I am inspired by him, so I'm trying to catch and capture something from his art that talks to me. And I'm just going to go around and fill in the blanks in a way. Let's get a little black in here. Let's get a little brown in here. And add this right here. So I'm gonna go in now and add the flowers. So it's going to be one of those paintings that you're gonna travel around and do tons of stuff. Okay, so we are going to, and it's, when I'm looking at it, it's very similar to the way Van Gogh, one of Van Gogh's flower painting is. It's tiny brush strokes. It's really creating a circle out of tiny little brush strokes, or at least that's what it looks to me. There's this flower, and I'm kind of having the two reds. And how we're gonna know that there is one flower and another flower is obviously we're gonna add a little bit of the shadow on one side, and also the flowers will have a different center. The color is dark, almost like black, where the center of the flower is. And for example, if my color is a little bit too transparent and it's not working, I might wait until it dries a little bit, and then like right here, and then go with a lighter color, and lighter color, which is gonna be white, and add some of that just to delete my background. And this is a painting I haven't done, so you are pretty much seeing the experiment of trying to figure it out, get my directions, and if I fail, you will see it. And a lot of times if I notice that I'm not going in the right direction, I'll stop, observe, check it out. Not all paintings need to be perfect, but we learn from everything that we do. So as long as there is a lesson in your art, you're good. To the left, and some of those flowers are facing to the right. So if it's a flower that's facing to the right, you might have a smaller line on this side and a bigger, little bit thicker line on this side with brush strokes. So it creates an oval with an oval in the center where the dark spot's going to be closer to the right. So now we have the illusion that the flower is facing that direction. And the same is going to happen here. So I'm going to go in one smaller line, bigger line closer to the right, and that's it. So these flowers, we cannot see the center. They're fully turned to the right. And some of them we just don't know because they are not pronounced. Tiny brush stroke. It's really easy brush strokes, nothing complicated, just following one direction or the other. And I'm left-handed, so it comes easy to me to go from right to left, or to pull from the top from 1 o'clock pulling towards 8. So how am I gonna darken my red? I am going to darken my red with some blue. So it's gonna become more like a purplish. And I will go to a smaller brush. Now, before I go there, the tablecloth is almost the same color as the flowers, except maybe a little bit of orange, a little bit of yellow in my red, but not to make it orange, just to kind of be there. It's a hint. It's absolutely a hint. And there's brush strokes obviously here too. Let's not forget, who are we trying to be like? Not worried about coloring lines. I will go over. There's a little bit of our shadow here. I'm just gonna apply it right now. A little tiny shadow right here, because obviously the light, maybe it's coming more this way, not straight sideways, but more like right here. And maybe from a little height, because we have the shadow element right there. Should not forget who am I doing, because I will go overboard with brush strokes, and that's not the point. Okay. It is very important when you're observing somebody to go back and forward, spend some time on observing. And it looks a lot of times that when I am painting and I'm taping myself, I am kind of rushing it, and I forget that I can speed up parts of the video so you guys don't get bored out of your minds. So I'm adding a little bit of green in my blue, and that's kind of gonna be my shadow parts. And now I'm trying to do brush strokes that represent some foliage, some leaves. Because I didn't wash my brush, the white is mixing nicely. So now I'm gonna wipe my brush and get white just to get that. So by me going a little bit like a letter C and following the shape of the element with the shadow side, and then doing absolutely the opposite on the other side will give me a perfect. Now I'm gonna just take a little bit of red because this flower, it really has simple art. Oh, this vase has simple art on it, so we don't want to go crazy. So there is 3 flowers here, there's some red right here, and it's almost like a pinkish red. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna take a little bit blue and some more shadow there. I'll take some green, lighten my green with yellow, and I am going to do those wiggly lines that represent a little darker on this side because we're going into the shadow. Take white. I added a little too much shadow here, so I'm gonna take white and I'm gonna tone it down. Too much of what he's doing. I'm still doing too much. So I'm just gonna leave this for now. I'm gonna go back up here. It's almost like I took a break from the top a little bit to go back down. The center of the flowers, it almost feels like the brush was spread it out and just adding centers or even a little bit of shadows from the sides. I'm gonna go in here. I'm running out of color, which is perfect because it's gonna give me more of a transparent blackish red. I'm using the tip of my brush just to add tiny little lines, and they're black and reddish kind of. And it's mixing a little bit with my blue. That is fine. Almost transparent, dark reddish black. It's just filling in the shadow side. Let's lighten up a little bit of the brown with yellow, and I'm just gonna add some more variation of a color in this location just to have the brush strokes. Let's add a little white in it. Let's find this color and add it right on the top. So it's brown, yellow, and stealing some white. And now if you want clean outline, use painter's tape and block your area. I don't care, like I actually like to do this to be coming outside my painting area. When I'm scanning my art, obviously I will get just a perfect rectangle, and this is probably, I don't really care if I am perfect there or not. There's some greenery, and also I forgot a little red flower there, so let's put that little guy here. Oops, not a clean brush, so I'm gonna clean this. Go back in here. Let's get a pointier brush. So I'm pretty much gonna go around the flowers and give them a little bit of almost like an outline on the dark side, and I'm wiggling my brush. And just creating an even center. Like it is a basic shape of a circle, but it spreads out unevenly to create that shape. And by doing everything not at the same time, it gives me a break from one element to another. So since I'm going around and experimenting with the painting and the way it's being done, it helps me figure out, okay, after coming back to it, am I doing something different? Is it looking better, or do I go back to the way I was doing? And I know I'm already way too deep into extra brush strokes comparing his, but that's okay. Trying to mix my green, and it's to be really, really bright green. And just adding almost like a wiggly lines in the directions of growth. And this little spots will represent our leaves. Now, let's not forget our plant right here. Is the color of our shadows. So now I'm gonna use the purple and just go back in and not define some of the leaves, but just give them a little bit like sort of an element. Because if they have been lost and I add maybe tiny bit of a, let's say, shadow somewhere, it's just gonna make the illusion even better. That these are leaves. you know, look at this and see, is there anything else I can add or take away? But pretty much the main idea was we have a circle that it's not a perfect circle, it's a jaggedy circle with the same jaggedy circle in the center and representing a flower. And this is it. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You will see videos every week. Let me know if you want to see something different. Any suggestions are absolutely welcome. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye.